session and work session. We've already called the roll. So the next item on our agenda, if you would stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item number 5, superintendent's presentation.
Tonight we are thrilled to have a really incredible vocalist, theater production. She has been a guru in Mason schools since we saw her first perform as an elementary student and knew there was incredible star power with Claire Northcutt. So it was no surprise that she won the very, very prestigious national honor or regional honor with the 2021 Overture Awards as a theater winner. I know her choral director is here tonight, Jason McKee, and would love to share just a few words about Claire. And then we are going to get graced with an incredible performance from Claire. So hang on to your hats for that one.
Thank you, Mrs. Carson. Well, Claire Northcutt has been an asset to the Mason High School choral program from the moment she started singing here. She has played lead roles in a variety of theater productions across the region and is one of our handful, of our 3-year members in the graduating class of this year's Honors Concert Choir. What sets her apart, though, is her humility and her compassion for others. I have no doubt that we have not heard her name for the last time because she is one of the most coachable and talented students I have had the pleasure of teaching. At this time, I'll let Claire just share a small sample of the talent that made her the theater division winner of this year's Cincinnati Overture Awards. Claire?
And Claire, we welcome you to take your mask off if it's easier for you.
Does that give you enough room? There you go. Yeah, thanks.
I'm singing Journey to the Past from Anastasia. Heart, don't fail me now. Courage, don't desert me. Don't turn back now that we're here. People always say life is full of choices. No one ever mentions fear or how the world can seem so vast on a journey to the past. Somewhere down this road, I know someone's waiting. Years of dreams just can't be wrong. Arms will open wide, I'll be safe and wanted, finally home where I belong. Well, starting now, I'm learning fast on a journey to the past. Home, love, family. There was once a time I must have had them too. Home, love, family. I will never be complete until I find you. One step at a time, one hope then another. Who knows where this road may go? Back to who I was, on to find my future, things my heart still needs to know. Yes, let this be a sign, let this road be mine.
stay up. The board will want to. The
Wow.
board.
Yeah, exactly.
Where to begin? I don't even, I'm speechless. I watch a lot of Voice, and you're far and away better than any of those folks that I've ever seen. So,
Thank you.
how long have you been singing, Claire?
Oh, since I was 2, taking lessons since I was 6. Yeah.
And was there ever a time, Mom and Dad, when you were like this close to putting like some cotton balls in, or saying, hey, maybe a quieter extracurricular activity or something? Or I'm sure there was a couple of growth moments there to get through.
We're both professional musicians.
Yes.
Ah, okay, there you go.
So absolutely not.
We're the neighbors.
I got lucky with that.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Man, awesome. Well, thank you for gracing us with that performance. We are excited to follow your career beyond Mason High School and see what great things you have in store for you.
Thank you so much.
I have been down to the Arnoff Center for the Broadway series for 15 years and seen them all, and you fit right in there right now. That is amazing. I feel like a judge on The Voice right now. That was terrible, Claire. I don't know what you're thinking. No, really, unbelievable. And I have known your name and seen you around for a long time, and this. I knew you were in musically inclined and in the program, but I am so thankful that you came and sang, because a lot of people may not have known that you actually had that level of talent who aren't tuned in. And so thank you for coming and singing right here for us.
Thank you so much.
Claire, so I'm a singer, I don't get a chance to sing ever, and I didn't do anything near what you do, but I have sang in a lot of weddings. People have asked me to
Matt
sing.
sings a lot in the work session.
The Lord's Prayer is my specialty if anybody needs somebody to sing it. But anyway, so I just say all that to say, I was so nervous, I couldn't make eye contact with you, because I was thinking about, you don't really, if you sing a lot, you don't really get nervous. You've moved beyond that, but this kind of I would be really nervous in a different place like this, because you're not used to singing at a lectern into that little weird mic in this room to the 5 of us. So but obviously I was completely wrong to doubt at all that that your nerves would creep in at all. I mean, you nailed that as if you were standing on the biggest stage, and we're all the luckier for it. And we thank you, and we can't wait to see what you do. And I'm going to steal Kevin's line. Usually, talk about setting the bar high. Our musicians, so many aspects of our music programs, perform at a high level, a professional level here in the schools. And, we talk a lot about the ones that are big. Mr. McKee will appreciate this, the big flashy ones with the national competition and hundreds of kids on a football field. That's easy to look at and say, wow, Mason has an incredible band program. You're raising the bar for our choral program and our musical theater program, and we thank you, and your fellow students, I know, thank you, and future students thank you for it. So good luck in everything that you do. Thanks
you.
for sharing with us.
Charles, I think what you were referring to was something I experienced when my son first picked up a violin. And I doubt that you ever had a moment like that. And I guess a real God-given talent. I'm so sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. It's an absolute God-given talent and a total thrill to watch you, not only listen to you and see you're the caliber that you perform, but the joy with which you do it. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Claire, are you a senior?
Yes.
Or you graduated
graduated,
Sunday? Yeah, I recognize you. Well, I kind of feel like I need your autograph, because you're going to make it big someday. And I want to say I watched her sing in the Harvard room, which has to be the most difficult presentation ever, singing at a podium. So you're absolutely amazing. Just,
Thank you.
wow. I felt like I was at a professional presentation. It was just absolutely beautiful, and I know why she's in tears, because it is moving, just moving. So thank you for sharing your talent with us, and congratulations on your award. It's so well deserved.
Thank you.
Claire, I'll just end with asking if there were, I know you've got Mr. McKee here, if you had other teachers along the way in Mason that you wanted to take a minute to acknowledge, or if there was any particular moment where you thought, oh, this is, more than just a passing interest for me. I really want to take this
I
somewhere.
have to thank Katie Hayward alongside Mr. McKee because she helped me a lot with overtures the previous years that I participated in it, and she helped me get my performances to where I needed them to be. And unfortunately this year I couldn't work with her too much because she was out with her child because she had a baby, yay. So I want to thank her and also my homeroom teacher, Monica Schneider.
Aw.
She's awesome, and every single year in homeroom, she would talk to me about like different Broadway shows because she loved like theater. So I wanted to thank her because I had somebody to talk to about that.
Well, we know you've got, there's this region, there's options for people with, musical or any other artistic inclinations. And I know we're proud and blessed and lucky to have you here and call you a comment. So thank you.
Where can we, do you have any shows coming up that we should know about?
Yes.
Could you tell us about them? So if anybody that's watching that wants to see that, because to see the whole crew, it's amazing. So tell us.
So I'm going to be in Something Rotten with Sycamore Summer Theater. They have a great summer program over there where they do shows with all kids from different schools. And I participated in a show with them 2 years ago before COVID came around. It was Mamma Mia, and I played Sophie in that.
Oh.
So last year I didn't get to do a summer show with them, but this year they're doing Something Rotten, which is like a parody on Shakespeare. So it's going to be really funny, and yeah, come see it.
So
there
we'll look out for it.
Is there a student section at those shows? Could we get the Black Hole over to Sycamore?
That would be great.
That'd be great.
Yes, please.
Well, thank you again for sharing your gift with us. We really are ecstatic and proud of you.
Thank you.
I'll get them out all at the,
If
We're-
I could I just wanted to mention that Claire's majoring in musical theater at Wright State this fall. So we're really excited for her next step. And as a shameless plug, Claire has been a featured soloist in our a cappella group Notorious for the past 2 years. And she's been featured at Kettering's National A Cappella Festival. And then since we couldn't have live performances in the fall, look up Notorious and Mason Siren on all of your platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, help me out here.
Apple Music,
It was
Spotify,
everything but
Amazon
one.
Music. Actually, it might have been everything except Spotify.
So we did a recording project in the fall, and each group did three songs, so they put out an album in the fall. So look for Mason Notorious and Mason Siren, and you'll hear more of Claire there.
awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, the achievements and excitement just keeps building as just today we got like the major news that our state champion science Olympiad team is actually the national champions. And so we are thrilled to have them with us today. I think we get to be their debut in the community as our newest national champions here. And I'd love to ask their advisors, Amy Hansen and Brian Thomas, to help welcome and tell us a little bit about what this journey has been like for this incredible team. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That'll help the online viewers to hear your voice too with the mic. You can just
Unless
talk
you'd like
at
to
it.
sing.
Okay. I said your name at graduation, and I didn't
I was gonna
realize-
say.
I can say that.
Yes.
I said your name at graduation. Now you're famous. Well, we are about two of the advisors for the Science Olympiad team, Amy Hansen.
Brian Thomas.
And this year has been a special year. So with all the challenges, there's just a couple things that I would like to point out about the Science Olympiad team that's here today. First of all, the Mason Middle School team also did really fantastic this year. I believe, was it fifth in the state? Third, which were their best results to date. And guess what? The high school students take it upon themselves to mentor and train the middle school. And that's something that they spend a tremendous amount of time doing. And it's just what they volunteer to do. It's
the high school team mentored them when they were in middle school, and these students just give back in that way. So how about a round of applause for the Mason Middle School team? Now, before we go too far, I want to make sure that our captains are honored because by far, the Mason Science Olympiad team has and always will be a student-run organization. So even though Brian and I are up here, we call ourselves travel coordinators. We are party hosts. We are nurturers and supporters. But really, the vision and the goals for the team and how we move forward all comes from our captains. And the captains are pure, elected each year. And this year, our captains are 4 very talented young gentlemen, and our senior captains are you, if you could stand for 1 second. And then Kevin, if you're over here, go ahead and stand. And then William Lee. Where's William? Oh, behind me. Okay, and Kanal. All right, so go ahead and stand. Let's give these gentlemen a round of applause. Sit back down, but these gentlemen, this year we had all the challenges with COVID, and when Science Olympians get challenged, they are about the most grittiest students that you'll ever meet. They accept those challenges, they roll with them, they grow from them. So, with COVID, they're like, no problem. So this virtual element, I would say that our team specifically, just like a fish in water, they really took to this environment, not because they loved it. COVID and being separated and isolated, in their homes, there's nothing fun about it, but our team, they're problem solvers. They just made the best of it. But some of the pros that came out of it is we competed in more competitions than we ever have. So we've actually competed all over the country. How many invites did we do, gentlemen, or captains? We did about 10, which is more, maybe almost double what we usually do. Okay, in addition to our regional and state. So that was so much amazing preparation. So and then we were just placing. I started to see the writing on the wall that this was going to be a special year because every one of these virtual competitions, first place, second place, I cannot tell you that the janitor visits me like once a week with this huge box that you can hardly lift. And it's with trophies and medals. And I just open this box and it's like 37 medals just spill out. I have no idea where they go to. It's been a weird year because for us, the coaches, we're not even aware that they're competing sometimes. It is student run, so that's really the impressive part. So then we come to our state competition and first in the state, so that's our second time in our history. So I'm so proud of the students, and they just, even though separated, one of the things I've really noticed about this group is they are a team, and they have bonded, and even from this house to this house, they are closer than they ever have been. I know they miss lots of elements from a normal season. Like our hotel stays, that's where all the fun happens. That's where all the magic happens. But again, these students are problem solvers, so they've figured out ways, and they've grown together just the same. So it's been really fun. As we've gotten to the end of the season and some of the COVID restrictions have been lifted, I've gotten to listen to the banter between partners, and it's just been fun. It's been a joy for me to see, because I've missed them. So here we are at Nationals, and first time in our history, the Science Olympiad team started at Mason in about my second year, so 2003. So when I made the post on Facebook, a lot of alumni from like 2007 and 2011, they congratulated me and the team, and it was neat because they were really part of this victory. It's been something that we've been working towards for many, many years. So one more time, congratulations to the Science Olympiad team. I'm really proud of you. Anything you want to add, Brian?
So, there was one thing that one of my fellow teachers was asking me about just today after school. And I mentioned that the students took it upon themselves to run their own invitational tournament. And Amy and I had been thinking for years and years and years, we need to do this, but holy cow, it's such a great undertaking. There's so much to do and so much to organize. Well, our captains and our team, they realized that we could run a virtual invitational tournament and kind of get our feet wet, I guess. And the next thing we knew, they came to us and said, we've got this plan, we're going to put it in play. And we think, oh my gosh, this is going to take a lot of work. And then by the next week, they came to us and said, we're ready to go. We hadn't done anything. So my fellow, probably shouldn't say that. My check already came in the mail, so. At any rate, my colleague asked me today, she said, so what, does the national tournament, National Science Olympiad, they put it together and the students just run it? And I said, no, it's not. Our students wrote the test, they ran the event, they graded the test, they had alumni help them out writing the test and grading the test. The national organization, they come up with the events. So they have the framework, all right? So if you don't know about Science Olympiad, it's like a track meet for science, right? You got 15 events and 15 people on the team. And so we've got all these events, but they did all the organization, all the writing. They put together the best award ceremony that I saw, and I saw quite a few of them. Most of them were just PowerPoints, first place, second place, third place. They gave away awards in kind of a really fun, quirky way, and you really should check it out. It's just fantastic. And so I'm just so incredibly proud of what you've done. Yeah. Amazing.
So we will bring our captains back up here, our senior captains, and I would love for them to introduce each of our 15 members and our alternates, and maybe just say what events they did. Good?
All right, so first off, our coaches like to be very humble, but really, we could not do this without their support all the time. They really helped us with every aspect of this year. They're always there to empower us, give us everything we need, and we could not be here without their support. So I guess I should probably begin by introducing myself. So I'm Yu Sachdeva. I'm a senior, so just graduated, yay. And I've been in Science Olympiad for the last 6 years, so since 7th grade. And this past weekend at the national tournament, I got to compete in 4 events, and they were designer jeans, disease detectives, protein modeling, and experimental design.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Ryan. I'm the other senior captain. I've also been in Science Olympiad for 6 years since my first fall in middle school. So it's been really cool to, grow as a person and a competitor, all that jazz through all these years. And at the national tournament this year, I competed in 3 events, which were dynamic planet, fossils, and geologic mapping.
All right, so before we introduce the rest of the team, as I mentioned, Kevin and I have been in Science Olympiad for the last 6 years. But really, this team right here is, one of the most hardworking, talented, and humble people we've ever worked with. They give their all to this team, and you can see that this year. Usually there are plenty of seniors left, but it's really only us 2 right now. But this goes to show that, Mason Science Olympiad is going to keep growing. These kids are going to be back here next year doing even better things. And so, it's really our pleasure to introduce all these really amazing people that you're going to hear about in the future. These are future scientists, future inventors. These people are going to actually change the world. So without further ado, Kevin will start.
Yep. First off, we'd like to recognize Sankalp Agarwal, who competed in machines and circuit lab.
Sankalp also took home first place in circuit lab. So he is #1 in the nation, with his partner, of course, which we'll introduce later, in the event circuit lab, and received an $1,000 scholarship to any college of his choosing. So another round of applause for Sankalp. All right, next is Amir Akbar. He's a sophomore, and at the national tournament, he competed in astronomy, Codebusters, dynamic planet, and fossils.
Up is junior Kunal Arora, who is one of our other captains this year. I believe his 4 events at Nationals were forensics, chemistry lab, protein modeling, and can you help me out, Kunal? Ornithology.
Kunal also got first place in chemistry lab, taking home another scholarship. I think it's $1,250 around there. Yeah, so another round of applause for Kunal. All right, next up is Michelle Chen. She's a sophomore, and at the national tournament, she competed in anatomy and physiology and ornithology.
Next is Samvit Das. He competed in machines and circuit lab alongside Songkalb in both events, and obviously he also won $1,000 for first place in the nation in circuit lab.
All right, next up is Neev Gupta. He's a junior, and at the national tournament, he competed in Codebusters, experimental design, and Write It, Do It.
Next is Yuandi Huang. He's a junior who competed in forensics with Kunal at Nationals.
And next up is William Lee, one of our other amazing junior captains. And at the national tournament, he competed in chemistry lab, Codebusters, and Sounds of Music. Yeah, he also got the first place in chemistry lab. Yeah.
Next we have Jessica Lee, a junior who competed in protein modeling. Am I forgetting something? Am I stupid?
Experimental
And experimental design, I'm sorry.
Next up, we have Michelle Lee. She's a sophomore, and she competed in one of the trial events called AgriBio.
Next is Jonathan Law, a sophomore who competed in disease detectives and designer genes.
Next is Art Moulay. He's a junior, and he also competed in one of the trial events called Detector Building.
I'm just going to skip myself and Yuvi because we've already introduced ourselves. But next we have Adira Shankar, who's a sophomore who competed in water quality.
Next up, we have Aryan Tadwalker. He's also a junior. Oh, wait, no, he is a junior. And he competed in the trial event Detector Building.
Next is Lulu Wong, a sophomore who I believe also competed in agrobiology.
Next up is Katie Wilson. She's a sophomore, and she competed in anatomy and physiology and water quality.
Next is Elizabeth Yu. She competed in 2 of our trial events, which were digital structures and right stuff.
And lastly, we have David Zhang, a sophomore, who competed in astronomy, sounds of music, sorry, I'm blank, Write It, Do It, and also digital structures? Yeah.
Once again, thanks to everyone who competed. Thanks to our advisors, for everyone who helped make this season possible. And hopefully this is one championship of many to come.
So we might have some questions for you guys, or praise, comments, things like that.
I don't think any questions.
Don't ask us questions for you.
Well, I am curious. So, designer genes, is that like a pun, Genes, or is somebody up there on a runway? What's that?
So yeah, it has to do with biology, genes, but yeah, they wanted to be a bit quirky and decided to make a pun out of the name.
Okay, all right. Just curious. Well, I have nothing else for
Excellent.
I have a question. How much time outside of school do you spend on this team?
Well,
Be,
for a
be
lot of-
honest.
I'd say it's definitely multiple hours per day after school. There's a lot of, obviously there's a lot of studying in Science Olympiad, but there's also, in normal years, for example, last year I practically lived in Mrs. Hansen's room after school every day. Even if it was just waiting for the buses, you know, all of us are spending time with our teammates a lot outside of school, and it's really, it's something of a family too.
Yeah. Were you able, toward the end of the season, were you able to have any in-person meets, or was everything virtual this year?
Yeah, towards the end, especially, you know, leading up to nationals, we were able to have a few more in-person study events, which is really cool.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for being here tonight. It's very impressive. Even that you guys both remembered all of the categories that everyone competed in was impressive. Thank you.
You know, I often talk about the fact that we have so many great accomplishments in our district, and our students are doing amazing things, and we're lucky enough to get to recognize when students achieve something really extraordinary, and we reflect a lot on how great that is, but then how much greater it is even what great people you are, and that you recognize the experience that you're having, and you can articulate in real time that it goes beyond the actual achievement that we're here to celebrate, right? So you're talking about state champion and national champion, which is, you know, the thing that brought you in the door and we're the reason you're on the agenda. But man, our favorite part is that in the midst of that, to hear you talk about your experience and reflect on the you know, your team and it being a family, and seeing how that experience will play out in your lives, that's the most exciting part. And it's hard to imagine it being more impressive than national championships, but that's even more impressive to me that that's the context. Because it tells me that beyond the technical skill and the work ethic, you have the drive from an emotional human standpoint to really change the world. You're going to make things happen that other people aren't going to be able to do. And so we thank you for that from the bottom of our hearts, and we just want to tell you how proud we are of you. Now, I do have a question, though. It has nothing to do with science, but I do notice that you all have really awesome swag. Is this a fundraiser? Because I have my eyes particularly on, gentlemen, the hoodies. Those are awesome with the bubbles. I mean, seriously, like my kiddos would like some of those. So consider it maybe for next year. There's a fundraising opportunity that people might be willing to buy some of those and wear them out. But congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So could you tell them about the shirts and where the designs come from?
Oh, yeah, thanks.
So all the designs are made by one of us. I think this year Katie designed the sushi, and then one of our underclassmen, Shreya, designed the balloons that Miss Hansen's wearing. And then some of us are wearing from past years. I know Sunkalp has designed in the past, but we love being student run. We love, you know, using our creativity also with our knowledge about science. And yeah, so maybe next year we'll post a form out to the open where everyone can get some.
There you go.
I have one more question. How do you get on the team? Is it a selection process? Is it teacher recommended?
Well, just being on the team is just open to anyone, but
Okay.
to select like the 15-person rosters for each invitational, we just have like a mock invitational where everyone takes practice tests and we try to figure out who fits best together, and that's something us 4 captains have to, you know, stay up late every
Sure.
time, trying to figure out what combinations work best.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you, and we're going to go with the KISS principle here because I was not a science person, but keep it simple. Tell me how you went about picking your categories on an individual, and also one of the categories that struck a note with me, pardon the pun, is the Sound of Music. Tell me briefly what kind of a project, or what did that competition look like? What did you do?
I think a lot of us in the events we chose had some sort of prior interest, like when we were younger. Obviously, like people who were in Sounds of Music, I know like William is like amazing at the violin, so he naturally fell into there. And both my parents are physicians, so I fell into life science and biology. But a lot of us fell in based off that. But also, these events are very unique, as in like you know, whatever piques your interest. At our first meeting, we have all our event supervisors who are knowledgeable about their event, give sort of a spiel about you know, what their event is about, and we have all the members in that room, and they can listen and they can see what, whatever, sparks their mind, whatever, floats their boat. I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. But yeah, it's really whatever you want to choose, and then it ends up working out in the end.
That's great.
So I have a question, and then a comment. The question is, when you did your own invitational and you wrote your own test and you graded the test, did you win the invitational?
We sent an underclassmen team actually to that one. So none of us on that list competed there, I believe.
Okay.
But I think they did pretty well, didn't they?
They did pretty well.
Yeah, they got like, I think 9 or something. I forget the exact number, but they
Okay.
did well.
All right, that's cool. And then, Matt mentioned it a minute ago, but each of you have found your way in this school, this high school and middle school, and become this family. And the one thing that you might not always realize is that when you're walking up and down the hallway, other students who aren't following the path of Science Olympiad are looking at you. The high school quarterback, you might not think he's looking at you. I promise you, he's looking at you. The cheerleaders, they're looking at you. Sorry, that might be a secret. They didn't want me to say. All the kids, up and down, they know what you're doing. They appreciate what you're doing. They're just not probably at the point in their maturity where they can articulate it in a compelling way. So maybe they keep their mouth quiet. But I'm telling you, after a few years, some of the memories they'll have are the things that you guys have accomplished and ladies have accomplished. And that bar you set is really important, not because you win a national championship, not because you get straight A's, not because you get, super high GPAs or 100 AP classes, but because you are passionate about the things that you do and you're good at it. And those are the things that are enduring, and your classmates will remember that, and there'll be a piece of you in them as they follow their path. And I want each of you to know that. It's really important. So thank you for what you do.
I think we also, one more round of applause to the parents of all the Science Olympiads. You guys. And if you would all actually line up, Claire, you as well, if you could line up, we've got a gift for each of you to come down, and then we will do a couple different pictures.
I just walk right down here in a line.
I feel like we just did this for some seniors.
We can
Just,
split these
yeah,
up.
just come on.
Claire, if you want to lead the way,
Lead us
Claire,
away.
come right down here.
Yeah, I think so. Start with him. You can give him a little.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, set up around.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Nice design.
Nicely done. Thanks for being here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job.
I like you designed this one. That's awesome.
I love it. That's great.
I didn't know that one because I couldn't quite see what it was. That
I
is so
love
awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Good job.
bud.
Very nice.
Congratulations.
Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I gotcha. Good job.
Congratulations. I like this sweatshirt too.
That's the one I was eyeing.
Congratulations. Love it. Good job.
Congratulations.
Thanks for being here.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Everybody. Hey, thank you again for sharing that. Well done.
So
I look forward to
thank
seeing what this
you.
team
Good
does
job.
in the future.
Congratulations.
Pictures.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
They do a picture.
Thank you.
Have a great summer.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Tracy, do you want them to do a picture anywhere?
Yes, so I'm gonna ask, everyone in this section, families, and folks, if you don't mind clearing out for a minute. We're gonna have our Science Olympiad students come over here, and then really quickly, while they're getting set up on these risers, Claire, I'm gonna take a picture of you with the board.
You want us in front?
Yes.
All right, Claire.
Hey, hey!
All the pictures at once.
You still, you get
gonna do mine. You know? Don't cut mine. You even have a star signature. I know, look at that. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm signing everything. Thank you so much.
She's really signing contracts back here. She thinks it's autographs. I will not leave Mason's school. How are you? Good to see you.
Kendra just sent me this. Look at that.
You play in Dayton?
It's in our backyard.
Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Mom's got to, yep.
Yeah, I won't sleep tonight. I had one like that in my last backyard.
Major credit to the
Like
North
that
Coast
snake.
who seem to turn out
Things are working
in all kinds of ways.
Is it?
All right.
Baseball,
Baseball
Yankees.
From the window?
All right. Oh, really? We're right out beside it.
It's just
We have woods that are right behind us.
Tracy, you want the board over there to
Yes.
stand on the sides? Go ahead. Yep, go. No. Go ahead. You guys go ahead. Get a good angle if we're gonna get the. You might be blocking the students. Unless you get down on your knees.
Oh, it's just Charles and Ashley.
Everybody getting their pictures? Good. Well, I'll have them hold before they, after Tracy's done.
So my two ladies on the top, I'm gonna have you guys move down here where you can see a little bit better. Okay. There we go. Missy, you right here. Can you scooch in this window? Yeah, let me. That's. There we go. There, now I'm missing you. Come to this. I think this. Okay, there. You've got. Oh, are we not to? Yes. All right. Yeah.
Stay still. Don't move from there. Don't move. There you go. Parents, you're taking pictures. Good.
And then, if you want to take mask off.
Start the mask. Hold your breath.
Wow, that was cute. There we go. All right, very good.
Well done.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Those were the most powerful things. Very evident. A lot of kids come. Can you show that it's more than fun? Thank you. Yes, absolutely. That'd be an honor.
You?
Yeah, thank you. Fantastic idea. I'm sorry.
Got it.
I know.
Good idea.
Thank you.
With the date and like an official meeting.
Right.
So,
She's gonna do big things. I have a feeling.
All right.
I get it.
I've been known to do better performances.
We don't really need Jonathan, do we?
intentionally,
Need Sean.
professional baseball.
Sean's the only one who has to do anything.
It is huge. I mean, no kidding.
I thought, I almost made it kind of like, you know what, this is about her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dang. I mean, that's like,
That's-
this student's pumped out an athlete and a
Yeah.
singer.
All right, this is a time in our meetings where we typically take a pause, so you are all ahead of me. You can already take your time and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Great job. Great job, Amy.
Yeah,
We appreciate you. Thank you.
thank you.
She did such a good name announcing
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yes, that's a great idea.
All right. What a treat.
That was a treat.
Holy cow.
All right. Our next agenda item is number 6, hearing of the public. Tracy, do we have any tonight?
Nothing tonight.
All right. We typically take a pause after that as well, but I think we're good here. So item number 7, resolutions.
Doesn't look like.
Yeah, there are none
There are
tonight.
none. Okay. Item number 8, administrative personnel superintendent's recommendations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to recognize anytime we have retirements, we want to congratulate people, but also thank them for their service. On item 8 here, we'll see Tamara Earl is letting us know that she is retiring, and thank goodness she's not leaving us right away. She is going to help us with the transition, and she'll be leaving in the fall. But Tamara has been a wonderful teammate and someone that has guided our child nutrition services to a nationally recognized level. So we just want to honor her, thank her, and everyone else that works with her, I'm sure, would be thrilled to stand behind me and thank her for that. So thanks, Tamara.
One of the benefits of her staying until then, hopefully that means we'll have an opportunity to celebrate with her.
We will.
In person.
We will.
That'll be great. And tell her how mad we are that she's doing this, but it is well earned, and congratulations.
Yes, and then congratulations to, there are some new appointments on here as well. Jody Bergman is someone who's been with us, and Gina's Fox as well, but moving into those positions officially, and just congratulations on their leadership and service in those.
All right, any other discussion?
Last piece on here is we do have all of our administrators that are up for contract renewals are on here. That is a cycle that happens. It's not everybody at once, but we do have groups come through at a time. So congratulations to all of our administrators that are continuing to move on and leading the good work that's happening in our district. So thanks for their service. That's all I have for tonight.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Sean?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 9, non-district funded positions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
You'll see on this, as you go through the agenda here, you'll notice it's capturing a lot of the things that are happening this summer, which is all around our students and our work, but also some of the work that's happening with our teachers, professional learning, and some of that support. You'll see the names on there of the teachers that are actually working through those in the summer. That goes, if you're going to do summer work here, it goes through a process with a lot of it, if it's curriculum work, is going with Amy and her team, and they're working through with Shauna Buemiller and Chrissy Huffnagel as well, making sure that we have people that are doing that work in preparation for future. So you'll see some of that highlighted here. And other administrators here in the room also help guide that work. I just give you an example.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Sean?
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 10, certified personnel superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just congratulations. You'll see Tammy Smith also on here as a retirement. Want to wish her the best in her next chapter, and also others that might be resigning or changing their retirement date on here. Arlene as well. Just congratulations to her. And then those that are moving on to other opportunities, we want to congratulate them on and thank them for their service as they move on to new, exciting things in the future.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion?
Last thing, appointments at the very bottom here. Thanks, Charles, for asking. There's a long list of appointments that are coming up. Some of those are renewals for teachers that are going on to the next section of their contract, but also new teachers and new folks that I've met with. So our process, we have at the building level, there is a process where folks go through questions, performance tasks, and depending on if they're an administrator or a teacher or a classified staff, then they'll also have performance tasks and interviews at the district level. And then I get to meet with each and every person that comes through just to have a quick talk with them before we go back, look through the data one last time, to make sure that we have the right fit for the role that we're looking to hire. So just congratulations, because all the folks that are on here have made it through a thorough process that we go through each and every time to make sure that we have the best staff possible to serve our kids.
Thanks, Jonathan. And to those of you who might be here tonight for some of those appointments, congratulations to you, and look forward to these additions to our Comet family.
Thanks.
Sean?
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
5-0.
Right. Couple pages to flip here. Item number 11, supplemental personnel, superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Sean?
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 12, resolution for hiring non-certified supplemental personnel, superintendent's recommendations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Sean?
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 13, classified personnel, superintendent's recommendations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just congratulations to those in the retirement stage there, moving on to their next chapter. We thank them for their service and appreciate what they've done here.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Sean?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 14, certified personnel, additional duties. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, this goes through a vetting process. This is summer curriculum work. This is during the summer. A lot of people think summers are off. That's kind of a misconception. Summers are actually a time when we get a lot of our planning work done and some of the work that takes us a lot longer to sit down and process. And so you'll see on here, it highlights the kind of work going on. It goes by category in here, but also who's a part of this work. All of that goes through a vetting process. It's something that's, we actually start now thinking about even next summer and starting to align that stuff a year in advance. So this is just where it comes up in the board agenda so you can see who's doing what during the summer.
And Jonathan, isn't it true that this portion, this isn't something that always used to show up on the agenda maybe 5-6 years ago, but some of this work would happen during the year, but we would pull teachers out of the classroom, but we made a decision to invest in the summer to do that work there so that teachers weren't missing time with students in the classroom.
Yeah, Matt, that's a good clarification. So there's a couple different philosophies to how to get this work done. It has to get done and you want to get it done well, but you could either take a lot of teachers out of classrooms and have lots of subs, but we, over time, heard that, and we saw the data that subs were hard to find. And so one shift that we made was to concentrate more of the bulk of the work, majority of the work in the summer. But yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out. And it allows us to keep our teachers in the classroom with our kids more often, and that is so important too. Everything you've heard even tonight, just the relationships and the family that we build. So thanks, Matt, for pointing that out.
Thanks, Matt. Any other discussion? Sean?
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 15, classified personnel, additional duties. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think we should move forward on this. This is really important. This was I can't thank people enough. Anyone that was a part of graduation, I know we'll talk a little bit about that later, but just thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Sean?
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 16, contracted personnel, independent contracts. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Sean?
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 17, this is a first reading of new instructional resources recommendations. We don't have any motion to make here, but these will be available to the public to review. And then we will do a second reading at our June 22nd
Got it.
regular board meeting.
And if anyone has any questions about this, Mr. Galvin, they can reach out to the board, they can reach out to myself, reach out to Amy Brennan. We are happy to set up times to have them come in if they would like to look at anything that we have that we're looking through. We're happy to. It does go through a process with the superintendent committee, with student achievement committee. So it has board members on that committee that review that, but it's also open to our public, and we do encourage people and invite people to come in and see it.
Thank you, Jonathan. Item number 18, first reading new course recommendations. This is similar. We do not have a motion here. We will put this out and have available for public input, and then we will have a second reading at our June 22nd meeting.
That's correct.
Item number 19, action item, superintendent's recommendations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I want to highlight a couple things on here. The item B is just our yearly or annual membership to be a part of the OHSAA membership renewal. So that's just something we do each year. We're so happy this year that we had seasons. I mean, I can't just say that enough. We kind of take that for granted now that we're in the spring season, but that was up in the air for a lot of times. So we're so grateful that we had seasons this year. School calendars on here, anyone that's tuning in. We have all of our calendars now ready to go, so you can see and plan your life out for the next 3 years, and so that's exciting. We did a lot of work behind the scenes to get that done, so take a look at the pieces there. Trying to think through if there's any other. A lot of this went through facilities like the cooling towers, the Train HVAC system, Johnson Controls. Todd Petrie and Operations brings all of that information to another superintendent committee. We do that in Facilities Committee, and then we bring it to a vote. So you'll see that information on here. And a lot of that's preventative, but also making sure that we have the cooling pieces. It's on a rotation. I believe, Todd, there's multiple cooling towers that we got to continue to replace. Is it 5? And they're on a yearly schedule. So
And we've needed those the last 5 days.
yes, when the heat goes up like it is, you want to make sure those things are working, or we will hear from people that those aren't working really quickly. Repair to the Mason High School tennis court. Just excited about seeing our tennis program in our school district and the relationship and partnership that we're building with the folks that helped us with graduation, as we had our graduation at the Linder Family Tennis Center and the Western Southern group. And so that relationship continues to grow, and we're hoping to maybe see some professional athletes someday grace our courts. That would be a hope of ours, so we'll see that continue to come together, and I'll share more as that update comes along. And then our OPSI contract. This is our contract to, in agreement with all of our classified staff that are part of the OPSI union, and we're really grateful to have a collaborative effort. Tanya's not able to make it tonight because of just other things that she has going on in life, but I just want to give her a lot of credit, Todd a lot of credit for going through the negotiation process and guiding that through so that we could have another successful contract to vote on tonight, and all the folks that were involved in that process.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Sean?
Mrs. Batchey?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 20, treasurer's report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment on one thing on here. The 5-year forecast is on here. We approve that a couple times a year. Just a couple notes for anybody watching. The process for this, Jonathan mentioned the committee assignments and committee work. This forecast also went through Finance Committee before the board reviewed it at the last work session, and then it's on here tonight for approval. Just a couple of highlights. We, like most companies out there, did see some impact from COVID-19 over the last year. So we saw some increased expenses throughout the year. We also saw some cuts in state funding that did impact the forecast. However, on the flip side, we were able to see a lot of support locally through some different avenues. For one, we had the great support from our community for the 2020 operating levy. That was definitely a financial help for our outlook. We also had the Warren County Commissioners late last fall came through for us with about $1.2 million in COVID-related funding that they got from the federal government, so that was a big help. And then we're also realizing, as we look over the next 2 to 3 years and beyond, we're realizing the financial impact of some of our economic development partnerships with both Deerfield Township and the city of Mason. So when you really combine all of those things, the district is on solid financial ground right now. And as we look at the big picture, we're 1 year into our 5-year commitment to stretch this operating levy at least 5 years. And the good news is that we are solidly on track to honor that commitment. So,
Thank you, Sean. Any other discussion?
Yeah, just one point on the 5-year forecast. I just want it to be on the record because it's important. The third COVID relief bill that the federal government has passed has included in it funding for education. And I just have to tell you, having gone through a lot of economics classes and talked about the concept of inflation, of too many dollars chasing too few goods, I feel like when I saw the numbers, I was looking into the abyss of inflation, the absolute manifestation of people not knowing what to do with all of a sudden dollars that are put in their hands. I don't say this lightly. It hit me like a ton of bricks when we first saw it. At one point you say, wow, this is great. And on the other point, you have to take a breath and go, oh my gosh, what is happening in our country? Because I can tell you, school districts don't know what to do with that kind of money. Companies don't know what to do with, nobody knows what to do with that kind of money. And I am concerned. But I wanted to bring that up because I really commend Sean and Jonathan for recognizing the gravity of it, making sure that our voice is heard loudly in the process that I would call very just concerning, and also at least an initial commitment discussion in Finance Committee, which at some point we'll bring to the board, that in the event that those dollars came to us, that we would honor those dollars with absolute sacred trust, because there's going to be problems that come down the road as a result of that, and we've got to use those dollars to be ready to be strong in an environment that may not lend itself to that. So I don't mean to be ringing the bell of fear, but a lot of people read the headlines and say, oh, great, but, Congress supported, COVID relief. And it's a lot of money when you see it start to come through the pipes. So there'll be more on that down the road, but it's a sobering thing to look at, honestly. So enough on that.
Kevin, I know yours is a kind of a global overarching concern. Sean, could you shed some light as that relates, that perspective, how it relates to Mason in particular, compared to districts at large? Because I don't want, on the record, I don't want there to be confusion that we're scratching our heads with how to spend a windfall in Mason. That's definitely not the case locally, right, Sean?
yeah, you're absolutely right. And a little bit of steal my thunder on my administrative commentary here, so I'll go ahead and dive into that now. But to your point, there's a lot of dollars flowing from the federal government, really all, across the state and nationally. For us, we're getting about $250 per student, which is it's a one-time payment between the ESSER 2 and 3 funds. And it helps a little bit to offset some of the expenses we've had, but it's not a, major game changer for us. When you look across the state, the district getting the highest amount per student is over $19,000. So there's one district getting over $19,000 per student between their ESSER 2 and 3 funds. We're getting about $250 per student. So, again, to your point, it helps a little bit. We are not getting a windfall. And one of the things we're actually been working on, Jonathan and I together, has been talking to other districts around the state, some of the districts that got lower amounts of funding, to try to fight on the behalf of our community for maybe some additional dollars that are out there. COVID impacted everybody, across the state, across the country. It didn't matter where you were, what demographic you were. COVID was a big impact. And so we just want to make sure that, we're fighting on behalf of our community to make sure that we're getting, everything that we can to help offset, our expenses and help reduce any kind of tax burden we have here locally. So more on that to come, in the next few weeks. Hopefully we might have some success there. We've been working with Jonathan's talked to Senator Wilson. He's been very supportive. We've got a meeting set up later this week with some people from Department of Education to see if they can maybe right that wrong a little bit. It's as we look through the numbers, there's a lot of things wrong with that. You know, obviously you talk about a lot of dollars out there and inflationary risk and things like that. But when you even break down the details of how the dollars were calculated, the idea was that it was based on what kind of percentage of underprivileged kids you had in your district. But when you really get into the details of that didn't even really make sense because, you know, you compare us to a district like Indian Hill who has about half of the percentage of underprivileged kids that we have. They're getting 3 times more per student than we're getting. So there's just a lot of things in there that don't make sense. And so we've been kind of working on that to try to, again, maybe right that wrong, to try to work on behalf of our community to get some dollars. So we'll see what we can get. I mean, obviously we're never going to get close to 19,000. It's not going to be a windfall for us. We will utilize any money that we can to the best of our ability. We won't be adding, you know, a bunch of new things just to use the dollars. We're going to try to use it to offset expenses that we already have related to COVID. And so that's kind of where we're at right now.
And Sean, there's how many districts on that list and where do we fall?
There's 609 districts getting money in the state of Ohio, or on the list in the state of Ohio. We're number 602. So we are very close to the bottom.
And that's on a per student.
Per student, yep.
Yeah, ranked
Yep.
per student.
So my point was really, I didn't want to steal your actual
No, you're
detail
good.
thunder. So to be clear, and I know there's movement still to determine what the actual numbers are, and those numbers are not reflected in this 5-year forecast.
Right.
But in my 5-year forecast commentary, I wanted to just say, the world is going to have to consume those dollars somehow, and we need to have the strongest 5-year forecast we can always have to maintain the optionality that we like to have, to maintain the long-term planning flexibility that we like to have. If you want to know why lumber is 5 times higher than it was a year ago, it's exactly because people are saying, what do I do with the dollars that I have? And they're building things. So that's yet there's not enough people to do the building. So that's what causes the prices to go up. And those are not healthy for us in that kind of, you know, abrupt sense in the long run. But I commend the work they're doing to try to help work that process more efficiently. So.
All right. Any further discussion? Sean?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Yangling?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
5-0.
Item number 21, committee reports. Superintendent committees, we had a facilities committee meeting on May 20th.
Yeah, so facilities largely was to discuss the preventative maintenance contracts, a little bit of the work we did on graduation. Any other big topics we hit, Todd?
Air filtration.
And we looked at some air filtration options for our building. We approved the contracts today, and that's largely what the committee covered.
Thanks, Kevin. Finance committee, May 11th.
I think we hit on those topics.
Agreed. Mason Schools Foundation had a couple meetings.
Yeah, so on May 16th, May 18th, I didn't make the May 16th meeting because it was my twin son's birthday. Happy birthday, Benjamin and Griffin, who turned 8. But tell me if I need to share anything more than I do. But it was a work session devoted to, I think I shared with you that they did a strategic planning session a couple of months ago. And the foundation is really smartly celebrate 10 years and $1 million worth of grants, but they're not done. And so how do they become an even deeper partner with our schools community for years to come? And what does that look like? And they've been really, they've done really great work setting, breaking that down into foundational objectives, and a lot of that night was assigning teams to that and assigning ownership to that, so the real work of that can begin to lay that groundwork. Is that right, Tracy? And then May 18th was a regular meeting But that was a really exciting meeting because a lot of it had to do with presenting the work of the grant committee and the recommendations for next year. And so I don't know what the operating rhythm of those announcements are. I don't know that they've been public yet, but
They're not public
Yeah.
yet, but it's
they're very
over
exciting.
$100,000.
Over $100,000, and so man, that's one of the best meetings I've been a part of, to see that and to hear the grant committee's excitement about the things that our teachers have dreamed, and that the foundation and people's donations to the foundation can make it a reality. So stay tuned for sure. And I was trying to bring it up on my calendar, but there is a date for the foundation gala. And I will find that before the end of the meeting and tell you all to put it on your calendar, because everybody is very excited to be able to have a gala in person again in the fall. So I want to make sure that gets on all of your calendars. Did I vamp long enough for Tracy to find it?
It's October 30th.
Oh yeah, it's October 30th, which means there'll probably be a theme
Halloween
of some
theme.
sort, so be prepared. I will do my best to make it. I get really stressed when I have to pick a costume, so we'll find an outlet for those less creative like me. But yeah, we're really excited about it. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Matt. And Student Achievement Committee.
Oh, sorry, that was me. So a lot of what we covered in the Student Achievement Committee was on the agenda tonight for the first reading, and that was the instructional course proposals for world languages and science. So a lot of the teachers, I guess all of the teachers who were assigned their subject matter, presented their findings and their recommendations to the committee on what resources to use for next year, and that will be coming for vote in front of the board end of June, right? June 22nd. A small portion of the meeting was also focused on a potential student survey tool that approaches to measuring student and staff perception. That was part of the COVID relief funds, that possible investment. And I know one of the discussions that ensued on that was, so now we have the information, do we have the resources to fix what the perceived, issue is or problem is? So I thought there was a lot of good discussion about the survey, and Amy, was clear, we're going to be acting on, we want to make sure we're able to act on what we're asking and the results we're getting back. So I like that idea. We're doing it now, but this would just be a more formal, and yeah, you know a lot more about that than I do, but.
No, you've done a great job. Just to add just a little bit, it is something we have a history of years of doing stakeholder surveys this year to measure our progress towards our OKRs, and we see a value in having a tool that can also allow us to do some national comparisons. And so this is a survey that could also allow us to see how are our students sort of feeling and perceiving their experience here compared to other like school districts. So other school districts that are other suburban school districts with similar percentages of low-income students. And so we see a potential value in that and are looking at piloting that next year to see how it could also inform our programs, our progress towards our OKRs.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you.
It was good. And it was our first meeting in a long time in person, so that was
great.
It was very nice and a great turnout too. Yeah.
Thanks, Desiree. And let's see, Arts and Activities Council. Did we already do that one? No, we did Student Achievement.
I think that might be it for this round.
Okay. Then we have our next item on the agenda, number 22, legislative update.
I think I've given updates throughout the time on where the fair funding bill is as it came out of the House, has gone to the Senate. There's lots of debate going on still. The prediction is that the activity around that is going to happen the second week of June, so I will stay closely connected to that work, because that will be something that Sean and I will have to pick through, because a lot of things at the very end of any bill like that, they throw a lot of stuff in at the end that we have to make sense out of. So we'll keep an eye close on that. If there's anything that we need to advocate for or against, we'll be ready to do that. I'll inform all of you so that we're watching that closely to make sure it makes good common sense for our taxpayers and our district.
This is in the context of the budget, right? I mean, the budget still isn't done. Is that what, it's part of that
It's all going to be a
process?
part of that, and we think that's going to hit in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll just watch it closely. Who knows if that's really the case? They're watching the activity and trying to predict that.
Yeah, you're right, Matt. It's the Fair School, or the House Bill 110 is the state budget bill. It's in the Senate right now. The House version included the Fair School funding plan, which was the Patterson plan they've been working on for a couple of years. It doesn't have as much support in the Senate, so there's probably going to be some negotiation going on there between, will they put it in or will they not put it in? If they do put it in, what will be the trade-off for them putting that into play? So we'll watch that closely over the next few weeks.
There's a couple other bills that are being proposed that we're also just paying attention to. There's a lot of activity going on out there that we will continue to keep you informed, because a lot of things that could impact our school and other schools across the state. So we'll watch that closely and bring that to you when it becomes more official.
All right, thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Item number 23, administrator commentary. Tracy?
Just wanted to thank you for voting for action item 19, which was E. You approved Titan, who is a new therapy dog at Mason Middle School that was actually sponsored by the Mason Schools Foundation in honor of class of 2020's Jake Williams, who passed away earlier last year. And then that actually brings us to having now a dog at each of our campuses. We have a new dog at MECC as well, Shiner, that was brought to us by the Shine Like Sable Foundation in honor of Sable Gibson. We have Hibbs at the high school and Lucy at MENMI, and I think there are plans to get one more dog that would be there. So many thanks to that. And then just a thank you to all the people who made graduation happen, and I would be really remiss to not recognize Todd Petrie, who was just incredible and spent probably 24 hours a day for about 4 days in a lot of hot and sun, making sure that everything looked and came off without a hitch. So many thanks to him and all the operations team for doing an incredible job.
That's great.
I'll echo that thanks to Todd, and wow, I just think it's this last board meeting of the school year. I think every one of our staff has done things that we never probably thought we could. We're pushed and challenged in new ways, and so to thank all of us, whether figuring out how to, at the Lindner Center, to get all of the students through so efficiently. It was behind the scenes, and it was awesome to watch. And our students, too, coming to schools in masks and figuring out quarantine learning or online learning. And so I'm just so grateful for all of the ways we come together. We know it hasn't been perfect, but we also know that we've learned a lot and are so proud of what our staff and our students and our families have been able to do. And thanks to all of you for giving us the opportunity to do that. I also, to our agenda items, just wanted to quickly recognize our teachers and our learning experience supervisors, Chrissy Huffnagel and Shauna Buemiller, who have been involved in reviewing that long list of instructional resources. It all comes to you now in May, but it represents work that started in August of really identifying what is our vision for what we want in our learners, whether that's what does a scientifically literate graduate look like, what do the standards say, what do our rocks guide us in terms of what's important for our students, the experiences they should have, and then going through a very rigorous process involving Student Achievement Committee members in reviewing everything that's out there, narrowing it, digging into it deeper, piloting it, so that by the time it gets here, it's really been vetted and by the experts. So it was fun to watch all of our teachers come through and to be able to sort of like shine in their own sort of content expertise and sharing those recommendations with our Student Achievement Committee. It's extra time, it's their passion coming through, and just so appreciate what they do, because those resources are with us now for years, and we want to make sure we're investing wisely. They're one of having common curriculum materials, or one of the ways that we ensure each of our learners has such a quality learning experience. So we're grateful to them for helping us to do that right.
I also want to thank Todd and the operations crew, but I also would be remiss not to mention Tracy at having a baby in just a couple of weeks, and she was out there in the hot sun for hours. So I don't want to miss that. I also wanted to thank the tech team. The people on my team have worked tirelessly and put themselves in
supporting online families, supporting our in-person families, and also new tools and all kinds of things of which they did not know them prior to COVID. So they really had to kick into high gear in supporting in a whole new way of which they were not used to doing. So I'd yet to recognize them, and I just wanted to do that at the end of the year because they really take a lot of pride in their work and supporting our families and our students, and just wanted to thank them for their effort.
Yeah, and I would like to thank all of you for the votes of confidence from graduation, but there's a few people I'd like to just shout out to, and one is Brandon Rompies, one of our assistant principals at the high school. He really led that ceremony with the high school, took care of all of it himself. Tracy, of course. Well, I would love to take credit for all those beautiful graphics on the tennis court and up on there. I had a few ideas, and I said, I know my limits. Tracy, I need to. I texted her and said, call me immediately. So I got Tracy involved, and yes, she was out there on Saturday too when it was close to 90 degrees, and I'm thinking, man, if you pass out or go into labor, I don't know what, you're going to be out of line because I'm going to be the first one passed out. I'd also like to thank Mark Merznowski, the transportation department. When we took over doing this, there were weeds galore at the tennis court, and our bus drivers, I just couldn't believe the green thumbs these folks have. They were able to clean that up and make it look just beautiful, as you saw that day. And of course, our custodians. I can't say enough about our group of Mason custodians. I mean, they rise to every occasion, and they did it again this time. They took care of their daily jobs, and in between those jobs, when it was more downtime in the building, we were able to pull them over to there, take care of the restrooms and things like that. So, from the beginning, I think your vision, Mr. Cooper's vision has been, we want kids in school. We don't want them to miss a year of learning and just really experience this. And this just driving away from that Monday kind of shook me up a little bit of, we did something right for these seniors. They were able to have a really cool graduation together. We didn't have 2 or 3 graduations. They had it together. They'll always remember that, and it's something that is traditional here in Mason. So while it was a lot of work, honestly, I just thank you for the opportunity to make it happen. It was a really good time. Lastly, Jonathan did talk about Tamara Earl. Love her. She's the head of our nutrition, but I'd also like to recognize one of our custodians, Buell Harris. He is retiring as well. He is over at Mason Intermediate. He's been there 17 years. Nice. And just our custodians, man, I've worked with some high quality people, but in 25 years, these custodians, I mean, we have some great ones here in Mason. They're just a blessing. So thanks once again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Todd.
I was fortunate enough to be at the graduation ceremony as both a treasurer and a dad of a graduating senior this year. So thanks to everybody who worked so hard to pull off such a great ceremony. It was well done, and I certainly appreciate that on multiple fronts. My other topic tonight was the ESSER COVID funding, and I think we hit that one pretty hard. So I'll defer to Jonathan.
We're number 602 on the bottom. Yeah, I heard that. A couple things we've had in our community and outside of our community. We have had celebrations. We've also had loss in families, and we just want all of our families to hear again that as a school system, we are here for you. And if you need anything as a family, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We all work all year long, so the school does not close up in the summer. So we're here for you. We have a mental wellness team. We have counselors. We have wonderful team in place, and you heard a whole team of dogs, a family of dogs, therapy dogs to help and support. So please know that we're here for you. 200 days ago, roughly, I stood right here. We didn't have that podium. We had another podium here. It's the first presentation I've ever given in a mask. It's about 200 days ago or so, if you remember. And we had color coding systems and all kinds of things. I was trying to explain what it was going to look like to live in a year of COVID. You probably remember that day. And I don't know that I had any idea what life was going to look like, but what I did know, and I still know, is that I had your full support to move forward and have the courage to do that in a time that was tricky. And I had a team of people on my executive team and our administrators to do remarkable things that I had full confidence that we could do, even though no one's done it before. And so when you think about Mason City Schools as we come to close our year this year, we have had, there's not an accident, it's not an accident that we have had schools across the nation call us that we've had the governor for our state call us on multiple occasions, that we have had media from all over both coasts call us. That's not an accident. It's because they saw something remarkable happening here, not up and down, but with consistency, stability, thoughtfulness, care for our community, and common sense. And that comes from our board all the way through our organization. So I know we may talk about that a few more times before this year totally closes out, but I don't want to miss that opportunity to just recognize that that is a moment that will be in history forever, that we will never forget, and it's something we'll be better for. So thank you for your support, and thank you for your leadership as we have moved through something quite remarkable. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you, Jonathan. Item number 24, board commentary. Desiree?
Thanks, Charles. Well, first of all, Todd, you stick out in my mind as you were the first, one of the first people I saw. You're welcome. I know you were so overheated on Sunday, and that was, after a series of days being there, and it looked like, and my family said the same thing, it looks like you've had it at the tennis center every year because it just went off without a glitch. So if anything was hiccuping in the background, no one knew the wiser. And Tracy, I had no idea that you were responsible for that graphic up on the, as I saw that and I was amazed at, it was just beautiful. And I don't know how you got it done, and you were so humble and quiet
She got up
about.
on scaffolding. You should have seen it. It's like this.
Your squeegee. Impressive. And I worried about you being out there and your baby bump in the heat and your feet swelling and and I know you had a huge team behind you and just being brave enough to step out and try something new. The flooring that you had to build. I had this picture in my mind of like plywood and that, and it was beautiful. It was covered in carpet, and it looked like it was built right into the center. So I hope we can reuse that.
It wasn't that way 5 hours ago.
There's a story there.
Absolute story there.
It was overwhelming how incredible it was. Just overwhelming. So just thank you. I'm probably focusing more on graduation because I also had a senior graduating this year. So it was very, very special. Thank you.
Matt?
Yeah, one thing, Tracy mentioned at least one of the middle school dog, actually no names, the dog is Titan. It is from a Mason Schools Foundation grant. And that reminded me that earlier when Mr. McKee was mentioning that we could all purchase a recording of some of our choral ensembles at the high school, that was also a Mason Schools Foundation grant. Mm-hmm. And so I'm probably gonna get teary like you did earlier, but like when I think about all the things like that that happened this year, that all of the things that people did to make this year special for our students, make it special or just make it normal for our students, that's overwhelming. I mean, I can't believe I know that we're lucky, but it actually, it makes me sad that everybody doesn't have it like this. That everybody doesn't live in a community where people come together to do what's right for the people who count the most in the entire mission of what we're doing, right? And so while I mourn that for everybody else, man, I am lucky to live here and lucky to play a small part in what we do. And I think I want to focus on graduation because I think it's actually a really good kind of illustration of what you all did this whole year. Like graduation is something that happens every year, right? But it couldn't be the same this year. But everybody came together. Bus drivers doing the weeding. They stepped up and did it with the excellence that we know that they do what they normally do. And they did the landscaping, and it looked beautiful. Because that's what needed to be done, and they wanted to be a part of what we were doing to honor our seniors, right? And so as a parent, I started to think, Amy, when you were talking about just the year and about how our students did and how our staff did, I mean, I think about the fact that, we're at the end of the year, and my 3 kids had a fantastic school year. We were open the entire year, and that's not by accident. It wasn't just a normal year. And I I'm kind of at a loss for words to explain my gratitude for every single staff member in our district, from food services to our administrative staff to every bus driver to our maintenance staff to our teachers who not only made their educational experience remain excellent, but they gave them a school year that they could experience and love and still love learning. And in fact, with my three, love learning even more. My three kids love learning more than they did the year before. And that's a miracle. And I'm grateful that you're all here and that we get to lead you. So thank you. Oh, also, sorry. Please take some time this summer. It's not like last summer. This is a summer where it takes some time. Everybody, our families, our staff, our administrators, please, please, please take some time. Our families and our learners, don't worry about catching up. Next year's next year. Recharge. Next year's going to be different. So just take that time. It's well earned. Thank you.
Kevin?
Well, let me start. On behalf of the board, we want to extend our sympathies, Amy, the loss of your mother. So quite a tribute you wrote on Facebook. We all saw it, and please accept those from us. Yeah. I want to just make a point about isolation. The opposite of the pandemic and the quarantining was isolation. And I think we've all in our lives in the last few weeks, as things continue to open up more, are closer to issues that are a result of isolation in terms of tragedies, deaths, other things, than we ever were close to tragedies or deaths about COVID. And so I am working in my company, as well as I'm going to encourage all of us here, for the organizations that we're part of, whether it's the school district, other organizations you're part of, your friends group, your families, check in. There are people who we just kind of disappeared a little bit. And even with the best intentions, you look up and go, my gosh, I have not seen that person in a year. And we have got to collectively reach out and connect, because I am concerned about a lot of things tonight. I'm sorry, but Jiminy, that's a serious one, and we've got to do it. So I encourage this. It's not maybe as prevalent because of how connected you are with our staff, but I guarantee in our entire larger staff, whether they're subs or other people that just have decided they're going to bunker in, and it's not good coming out. So we need to be thoughtful about that. So I encourage everybody who's listening in your own organizations, please reach out to people and make sure that they know they're important and that they have support, because it's just not okay to just let that happen. It can't just happen naturally. So that's that. A big thank you to the graduation team. Todd, I know you're a humble guy, but your team, please, I'd like to know, I don't want to exclude people, but at some point when you have a chance, Tracy as well, if you could write down the names and let us know who were really the people that just grasped that and went after it. I want to thank them at the right moment, but it's sometimes kind of blank to just thank everybody generically, but it's heartfelt, and thank you for making it happen. And thank you, Mrs. Mama Carson, because I was watching you too a little bit more than normal during graduation. So thank you for that. I also want to thank Leslie Turner and Tracy and your staff for maintaining the pictures of the graduates on Mason Montgomery. We didn't have, thankfully, a hurricane this year to deal with, but it took a lot of work to keep going up and down and make sure that they weren't falling down, and for the maintenance staff to put them up. And I think that's a nice tradition as well, and I know we're glad to financially support part of that. And and thank you, and please pass that to Leslie as well, and her family. I know they were involved. And then, oh, and my thing was already, we talked about, so I'm shortened. So that's it. Thank you. I also, like Desiree and Sean, just extra proud of the graduation event. And I, for one, would love to put my hands in and get dirty and help figure out how to make that a longer term, tradition. So, thank you.
Connie?
It's hard to top some of those comments. When I look at the end of the school year, there's always a lot of extra work and a pulling together and pointing out the meaning of what everyone in our district does and how well they do it. And this year was certainly no exception. The past 2 years in particular, though, have really been difficult. It's required that we kind of step out of the box and get creative. But the term that comes to my mind is comic pride. And I can't tell you how much I, as a board member, appreciate people stepping up. And Todd, you certainly come to my mind as top of list right now. But through conversations with you, I know that there were a lot of people that helped you, people that don't normally work with you on facilities and events in the district. And Tracy, I know the same is of you as well. I just don't know how you begin to thank people that step up and take care of the event that's the culmination of everything we do here, our sole purpose. So I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, express my gratitude. And again, the list, as you mentioned, Kevin, the list is enormous. I don't know how you'd ever really mention everyone involved, but just a great deal of gratitude.
Thanks, Connie. I think everybody has touched on everything one way or another. I don't have much to add other than I'll just echo a lot of the thanks we've heard tonight. Todd, amazing graduation ceremony, very memorable. Excited to be able to be a part of that and to see everybody fill that stadium up and to make a memory that is unique already for graduation in the lives of all the families and students that were there, but also unique just in the pantheon of graduation ceremonies. We talked about this, for the past few months, what we were going to be facing as we were grappling with some of the local health and state and local health orders. And as we see news stories about some of the traditional graduation ceremonies going forward, but maybe broken up by classes and things, to be able to bring everybody together and to take a gamble that the weather would cooperate and the cicadas would kind of stay at bay. It was just a really rewarding afternoon to see that all come to fruition, and just excited to be a part of that. Jonathan, we appreciate your acknowledgement, and we also would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that, we have seen locally and nationally the turnover among superintendents and school administrators, how much a toll this year has taken on, folks in your position, but as well as the rest of the executive team. When you entered into the field of education however many years ago and you started out teaching in classrooms or doing other things that were at that entry level, ideally you had this picture in your mind of what 10, 15, 20 years down the road might look like, and I guarantee it didn't look anything like the past 2 school years that we've had. And we are just so blessed and so lucky to have all of you leading us in our community and maintaining, to use your language, that steady, calming, influence to get us through unprecedented years. And we're all still sitting here, and I look around and I'm not
it's not lost on me that the same faces and the same, people that have been here, minus Tanya, but she would be here otherwise if she didn't have another, engagement. It's just so great that we're all still here, and we're so lucky and blessed to have all of you here and to lead us through these times. And, I think that that's something that should not be taken for granted, and we are very appreciative of that. So with all that being said.
I have one more thing, Mr. President. We forgot one thing, and I think I'm right. Mrs. Brennan got her educational doctorate degree this week. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
accurate?
Dr. Brennan.
Dr. Brennan. She is one of the smartest people I've ever met, so we could not pass that up.
Wow.
Thank you for reminding us of that, Todd.
That's amazing.
Quite a
You're
week.
smart and you have tons of common sense. Which doesn't usually go hand in hand,
Well, I can't top that, so item number 25, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Thank you, everybody.